Mr. Khara, how much of an impact is this move going to have on inflation, given that what we're really seeing is a spiraling on food prices? I know you talked about the wider factors at play, but how much really can monetary policy at this point play a role in containing the root of inflation?
Well, as far as this is one of the conventional tools which is available, and this was the point of time when we had seen excess liquidity in the system across the globe, and that was something which had started impacting. So it was naturally, that had led to a situation where perhaps increasing of the repo rate will probably be in a position to take care of the excess liquidity part in the system. So that is something which has been done. So how much of it will be help in containing the inflation? Probably. The other very important aspect for inflation is the kind of a capacity which is available. We still have very decent capacity which is available. Our capacity utilization in the economy has improved to up to 74.5%, but still about 25% of the capacity is available to be tapped. So I think supply side constraints I don't perceive much. So, and also when it comes to rural economy, we are expecting a normal monsoon. So if at all, that is the kind of a situation from when it comes to the crops, we are expecting decent crop, and that will probably take care of the food inflation part of it. So I think, to my mind, still the major risk is essentially coming from the imports of the crude as well as the edible oil. But lot many steps have been taken by Government of India in terms of rationalizing the duty structures and also the taxes. So that is also mitigating part of the impact of the global price rise on these commodities.
Mr. Khara, I want to ask you about the linkage of with credit cards as far as the UPI system is concerned. But before I do that, I want to once again on behalf of India Today viewers ask you, what happens to those who hold fixed deposits or are planning to put in some fixed deposits? Can they expect better returns following the RBI's moves?
Again, this will be a subject matter of discussion in our ALCO, wherein we will be reviewing the position of different maturities. So when it comes to the existing fixed deposit holders, they will, as per the contract, they will continue to earn the interest rate at which they have contracted that fixed deposit. But as far as fresh fixed deposits would be concerned, they would be according to the new rates, and the new rates also will depend upon the kind of ALCO asset liability position is concerned with each of the bank. And we started increasing our deposit rates for certain maturities. We have increased it in the last ALCO meeting. So we'll be taking very conscious call to ensure that our overall cost of resources remains within range, and it should not adversely impact our NIM. So that is, we need to do fine balancing always, so that is something which we will do.
Mr. Khara, could you also explain how this move initially for RuPay credit cards will play out? People are asking this question, that does it mean that small payments that we make through UPI can now be linked to credit cards, and instead of directly paying from the bank account, you can earn a window of 30 days of interest-free credit?
Yeah, certainly. I think it's a very welcome move which has happened, and to start with it is RuPay cards has been offered. They can be used for UPI payments too. So I think it's a very welcome step, and maybe going forward, maybe we might get to see it happening with the other cards also, Visa, Master also.
All right. Mr. Khara, the governor also indicated that there would be a continued rate hikes, at least another one before the year is out. What's your overall perspective when you kind of look at how things are going to shape up over the next few months in terms of both inflation and growth, given that monetary policy is already talking about being far less accommodative?
I think perhaps we'll have to wait and watch for how really the growth pans out, how the excess liquidity in the system gets absorbed. So I think those will be the factors which will be eventually impacting on the broad macro data, which will be very carefully looked into before any policy decisions are taken. So we'll be very closely watching the situation, and it's too early to really indicate for, as a bank, it is too early to really predict any kind of a interest rate trajectory going forward.
Okay. We have been hearing, of course, that on the corporate side, there still hasn't been too much of a change in terms of capacity expansion plans and so forth. Do you see any significant implications when it comes to capex and the plans of corporates, in light of the rising rates, at least in the second half of the year?
So actually, the way I have seen the behavior of the corporates, they look at the demand. If at all demand is there, then perhaps this may not have any much of impact on their investment plans. So that's how I interpret how the corporates evaluate the situation in the economy. So I think, and overall also, we have looked at it that large corporates have deleveraged their balance sheet quite a lot. So there is hardly any interest cost for them. But if at all they are in a position to see the demand, I think it will be a time when perhaps they will be investing for adding the new capacities also. In the current financial year, we have seen the traction in that direction, and I expect to see it going forward, provided there is a strong demand. And if you look around, the economy is still, as per the RBI projections, also is expected to grow at 7.2%, and perhaps one of the very few large economies where this kind of a growth will be seen in the current year. So I think to that extent, we have a reasonably decent chances to see investment from the private sector also coming, though government will continue to take the lead in terms of supporting the investment climate in the country.
All right, Mr. Khara, great having you with us. Thank you for taking out the time on the day of the policy and talking to us about some of the implications going forward. Dinesh Khara, Chairman SBI, with us here on Business Today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.